Mathew Clegg, 213509. The project that we were given was a fringe project, and for this project we had to collaboratively create a performance as a whole, including designing our own lighting, picking our own sound, music, whatever we had to use, and getting our own costumes and basically creating the whole thing. Going into it, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I just knew that I wanted to do some dance, because that's what I want to sort of pursue. But yeah, I didn't really know what I wanted to do for an actual performance. So it was good that there was a group that also wanted to do dance, but they knew what they wanted to do. So I just kind of joined onto them, kind of leached off them at the start. My initial thoughts were because they wanted to do something to do with art and stuff like that, like getting influence for the choreography of dances through art, and I thought that was a really good idea, really original. So I was pretty happy, to say the least, that I got a group that's very creative with what they wanted to do. And it was quite good as well, because I'm strong friends with Mara and Emily, who were the only two in the group at first, and then later on Jordan joined the group much later in the process, about 4 weeks into the process. So yeah, as I said, we were planning to do a just dance piece, but it ended up being some acting as well, to just sort of explain the story if the audience didn't really get it, which I think was a good choice, because with the kind of story that we wanted to show, it was quite an intricate and detailed sort of piece, and without the acting and without the sort of explanation, then I don't think it would have worked. So I'm glad we added some acting into it, but the acting didn't overpower the dancing, vice versa. I think if it was my choice, I probably would have put less acting in it, to be honest. But that's mainly just because I wanted to do dance. And one thing that I take away from it is the fact that Mara was very much even though it's a collaborative performance, Mara was very much the director sort of thing, where she was instructing us on what kind of research we needed to do to help the performance do better. And I really like the fact that I got put into a group that, just like me, has the idea for entertainment being a way of showcasing ideas and what we believe in, rather than just mind-numbing entertainment that people can watch without really thinking. I like the idea of making your audience think. I don't think there's enough of that in the industry or in just the world of entertainment at the moment, and I think that's quite sad, to be honest. My initial research was very much, I got assigned the job of finding all the music, approving any music ideas that anyone had. So my job was quite important, because if I didn't find the right music, or if I didn't approve of the right music, then it would have really changed the entire performance, to be honest, because then the lyrics in the songs, or the instrumental in the song, they showcased the idea and the way that we wanted to show what our piece was about, which was mental health, abuse and suicide. Domestic abuse, sorry. And I don't think, if we had absolutely no music, then it would have just flopped. It wouldn't have worked at all. And the same with if we had the wrong music, like if the music was too happy at times, or if the music, like if the lyrics didn't say the right words, I very much think that the idea would have been really misconstrued for the audience there, and that would have been our faults, not the audience's. I personally looked for, when we was coming up with ideas for choreography, that was very much a job for the whole of our group, and less of a like how I got a job for looking for the music. It was less of a personal like, you do this, I'll do this, I'll do this, and much more of a like, we'll all look at practitioners and suggest ideas. And I took it upon myself to look at a lot of modern practitioners, modern meaning like practicing now, as in I looked at a few choreographers like Kyle Hanagami, Sean Liu, even the very few choreographies that Hayley Fitzgerald has done, and also like those three people are also dancers themselves, so I've watched a lot of dances they've done, also to do with Jade North and I forget his last name, but there's a dance called Greed on YouTube, and it's by Jade North and a guy called Josh. I can't remember his last name. It's really difficult to pronounce, but basically what I take from their choreography is that it's a dance about a relationship that's struggling, that they both want to try and revive and help the relationship carry on, but they just can't anymore. And we actually ended up using their choreography for one of our dances because it shows how Mara and Lunam's characters' relationship sort of evolved into this horrible ball of mess, and how it also showed in some ways the abuse that Mara was receiving from Jordan. And I think that was probably the best decision we've made in the entire process, just because it's by far my favourite dance of the entire show, and I'm not even in it, you know what I mean? Other areas of research that I explored was very sort of unconventional musicians. So even though they weren't included in the actual piece, I did look at The Weeknd, Billie Eilish, and Elliot Moss for a few of their songs, because they sort of portray the idea of difficulty and struggle in their songs quite a lot, and I recognised that, and I sort of connected with it because I was already fans of their music. I was already a fan of their music anyway, and being able to even just look at their music from a critical point of view for this performance was honestly a lot of fun. I'd definitely look to them for a lot of inspiration for music in future performances, like for my directors next year, or if I end up choosing to do a Fringe next year. I'm not sure how that's going to work, but maybe. My research sources were a bit hit or miss, to be honest. Like, some of them were really important, like the Jade North and the Josh Greed dance. But then I ended up not even including Billie Eilish in my research assignment, because other than listening to like a couple of songs, I didn't really note anything down to do with her and her music, because as sad as her lyrics are, I feel like her instrumentals are always fun, and I feel like that would very easily again be misconstrued by the audience, and not a lot of the audience would get it then. So that was a sort of critical standpoint that I chose to take on that, and I wouldn't change it, not even now. As I say, the research area that I was mostly looking at was music. That was what I was sort of given to do by the group. So I guess the research that I found most beneficial was the music, because it helped me sort of get into the mindset of this performance as well. And music's a very powerful thing, because like I say, if we had no music at all and we just did the performance with absolutely no music and laid it as bare as possible, yeah, 3 or 4 people in the audience might have understood what we was going for, but for the vast majority of the audience, they would have been like, what was going on? They wouldn't understand it. They'd have thought that it might have been a mistake on the tech side of things or whatever. So I really enjoyed connecting with music and understanding an artist's point of view when they write their music. I'd say the extension of research that I probably should have done would have been looking at more dances, like choreography to dances, possibly to songs that I had already looked at. So then I would sort of have an idea for when we go into class, like, because the choreography was very much a collaborative thing of like, oh, I have an idea, or Jordan has an idea, or Emily has an idea, or Mara has an idea. And I definitely think in that sense I was sort of slacking this performance, because I didn't really have that many ideas when it came to choreography. But when it came to actual music and choosing the music, I had tons of ideas. So I definitely think I should have balanced them a lot more. So I think if I was to do the whole process again, I'd probably do that. The contributions I made to the devising process were, as I say, all to do with the music. So even if I'd have thought of some choreography to start the dance off, or in the middle, or at the end, or whatever, it would be very much to do with the music and what the song is saying, so to speak. So like, for our last dance to Build a Home by the Cinematic Orchestra, we each had, there was 3 of us on the floor dancing, and we each had our own sort of solo portion. And for my bit, I took from moves that I've sort of like seen from constantly watching videos all the time, really, because I watch choreography videos all the time anyway, and also just thinking of like, here's a progression in the song where it sort of gets faster, so then we do faster movement. So like ideas like that were very much like how my contributions were, and I'd say they were very relevant, but they also were quite rare, because like, as I say, I wish I did a lot more research for choreography. It was very much based on music. So, like I say, I wish I'd just balanced that better. The progress I made in my role I would say I also made the same amount of progress as a dancer and as a person, and that's just broadening my sort of understanding of movement and the way the body moves and different ways that people may not have used before, and using them and showing, yeah, this works too. My role sort of took a backseat the further into the process that we got. It was sort of, like, once we'd sort of obviously decided on the music, this was about 4 or 5 weeks in, a few weeks before the actual performance, the final performance. I'd say my role took a backseat, but I think that was definitely a group sort of decision, but without being talked about, if you get what I mean. Like, how we kind of realised, okay, the music's been chosen now, so Mathew's just going to be a dancer. He's not going to look at, like, giving us more music, because obviously you can't have like 30 songs but like 5 dancers. It wouldn't work. I think I did make sufficient progress, especially with, like I say, broadening just the way I critically look at choreography, music, just the way I look at things as a performer. I definitely think I progressed a lot in that, and I think that helped my group a lot, because even though I did get annoyed at times and I did go in moods at times, but the whole time I was focusing on this piece. I wanted to get this piece right because I wanted to really show what I can do, you know. Like, I think as a dancer I've progressed a ton in a year, and I have no one really to thank more than my peers and my tutors. Speaking of peers and tutors, how do they influence your ideas and contributions? Daniela definitely influenced my contributions quite a lot by, you know, telling me, oh, research this, or look at this, or this would be good for your piece. I definitely think some moves that we used in mine and Emily's first dance, the puppet dance, were taken from what Daniela had taught us like a year ago. Like, there's a way that Emily got up off the floor, and we got taught that off Daniela around about a year ago. I don't think we would have had that idea if we didn't get taught that, so yeah. The final tech and dress rehearsal was a little bit of a mess, to be honest, because we sort of, we told our tech what we wanted for lighting and sound, and then they were kind of like, alright, you're done, but we didn't really have a rehearsal. I think I would have much rather had an actual rehearsal, because even though the performance went well, I do think if we'd ever had a rehearsal,